Hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Knowledge Systems and a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy, and it offers examination coaching for UPSC CSC, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level and CLAT examinations. And about me, I'm Sandeep Bhushan Tumala, and I take up the analysis of the Hindu newspaper, that is of today's 13th of May 2021. And throughout my session, I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases wherein I will be focusing from the Hindu newspaper, which will be useful and critical for UPSC prelims perspective, because we will be identifying the factual, analytical and conceptual questions. And also, while you get into the mode of imbibing the keywords and the key phrases for the mains examination, thereby this will help you to score more marks, because while you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases in your answer writing for the mains examination, your answers would be precise and concise, and thereby you would score higher marks. Therefore, this session at AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis will certainly help you to crack for both prelims as well as mains of 2021. And before we get into the DNA of the newspaper, we would be focusing at the quote of the day, and the quote of the day says that there is no excuse for not trying. So do not find an excuse for not trying or not getting into the mode of your success or not attaining your short-term and long-term goals. So therefore, there is no excuse for not trying what you wanted to be in your life. And now we'll get into the DNA of the newspaper. That is, here we would be focusing on the keyword, that is the lockdown. And this is the mention made by the ICMR chief, that is the Indian Council of Medical Research chief, or the Balram Bhargava, wherein he has focused the importance of the lockdown. And the importance of the lockdown, he has focused that there should be for another 6 to 8 weeks lockdown, so that the districts in the country which are reporting a higher number of infections and wherein the positivity rate is about 10%, there is a necessity, and those districts should be remained clogged for another 6 to 8 weeks, so that this lockdown for another 6 to 8 weeks for the districts which are reporting a higher positivity rate or above 10% is to control the spread of rampaging disease, that is the COVID-19 pandemic situation, and to control the transmission of COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2 virus. And he has also made it very clear that out of the 718 districts in the country, 3/4 of the districts in the country are tested positivity rate are above 10%. And if we'll focus at the major cities, that is New Delhi, Mumbai and Bangalore, are the one which are more than 10-20%, and they're closely hitting towards 30 plus 40%. So there is a necessity that is being mentioned by the ICMR chief in training or controlling the spread of rampaging disease, and to make sure that the containing the SARS-CoV-2 virus can take place only through the making sure that there should be a lockdown for another 6 to 8 weeks in the districts which are reporting a higher number of infections or wherein the positive rate is about 10%. And the ICMR chief has also said that, which he has mentioned, that it was on April 15th when they had a meeting of the National Task Force on COVID-19. So certainly there was a meeting by the National Task Force on COVID-19 on April 15th, and the ICMR chief has recommended to the government in the meeting about the lockdown areas which are, that is the districts which are having the positivity rate higher or equal to 10%. So he has made it very clear, the recommendations made by the ICMR in the meeting of the National Task Force on COVID-19, that the government should consider the lockdown areas which the districts are facing or they are experiencing the positivity rate where it is higher than 10%. So please do understand, it was mentioned or it was recommended in the meeting on April 15th. And the head of the National Center for Disease Control has also made it very clear that there has to be a strict lockdown measures which are required to contain the spread of virus in early April. So there was certainly a message given by the National Center for Disease Control and by the ICMR chief, that is Indian Council of Medical Research, in regards to the lockdown to contain the spread of virus, which now we have experienced the second wave, which has been destructing the lives, the property. It is in regards to the economy of the country. So therefore, there was a recommendations made by the National Task Force on COVID-19 meeting that there has to be a lockdown for another 6 to 8 weeks. Now, the ICMR chief says that. And now we'll get into the another news, which is in regards to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. And the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2020 was amended by the Government of India in September 2020. And when it has amended the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, there was very clear that the government was focusing on the NGOs, wherein the NGOs has to be registered under the FCRA Act 2020, so that these NGOs which are registered and which are wanting or which are receiving the foreign funds should have or should open a designated bank account at SBI, that is in the Delhi, and the NGOs should be compulsorily registered with the Aadhaar details of the chief functionaries, of the trustees and the office bearers. So definitely there was an amendment provision which was included in the FCRA, that is the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, in September 2020, and thereby this amendment now is causing an hamper to the foreign funds receiving to the NGOs, and which they are, that means those NGOs which are working for the to contain the spread of the COVID-19 cases, or the trying to make sure that they are helping the patients or the COVID-19 patients. So now the point is in regards to the amendments made by the Government of India to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, and which has made it very clear that they have to be, that is the NGOs have to be registered and they should open a designated bank account with the SBI in Delhi, and there has to be a compulsory registration of the Aadhaar details of the chief functionaries of the NGOs, trustees and the office bearers of the NGOs. And this has created a concern, or this amendment provision was also challenged by NGOs, and an Assam based NGO has moved to the Guwahati High Court against the amendment provisions which were made by the Government of India in September 2020 in regards to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, and wherein the Assam based NGO has challenged in the Guwahati High Court in regards to the Aadhaar card making mandatory for opening and operating the account at the SBI in Delhi. So definitely now what we need to focus is the Assam based NGO which has moved or challenged in the Guwahati High Court is in regards to or against the amendment provisions which were introduced by the Government of India, that is the Home Ministry, in September 2020, is that challenging that why Aadhaar is made mandatory for opening and operating the account in Delhi. Please do understand here that the Assam based NGO has challenged, or it has moved to the Guwahati High Court against the Aadhaar mandatory. This is the keyword. Please do focus. The Assam based NGO is talking about or challenged in the Guwahati High Court in regards to the provisions or the amendment provisions of the FCRA in regards to Aadhaar mandatory. Why Aadhaar is mandatory for opening and operating the account? This is the question or the challenge which was made by the Assam based NGO in the Guwahati High Court. And in turn, the Guwahati High Court on May 5th has sent a notice based on the challenge or the petition filed by the Assam NGO. The Guwahati High Court has sent a notice to the SBI asking to explain why Aadhaar was necessary to open a bank account. And look at it, the NGO, that is Assam based NGO, has challenged that why Aadhaar is mandatory for opening and operating an account. Thereby, as per the petition filed by the Assam-based NGO, the Guwahati High Court has sent a notice to the SBI explaining, or it wanted an explanation by the SBI to the Guwahati High Court that why Aadhaar was necessary to open a bank account by the NGOs to receive the foreign funds. And the Guwahati High Court has also mentioned the Supreme Court or the case Puttaswamy case of 2018, that the Supreme Court had ruled that mandatory linking Aadhaar to a bank account, that is having a Aadhaar linked to the bank account, does not satisfy the test of proportionality. So this was the statement made by the Supreme Court in the year 2018 in the case KS Puttaswamy, that linking of the Aadhaar to the bank account does not satisfy, please do understand this keyword, does not satisfy the test of proportionality. So when the Supreme Court in the year 2018 in the KS Puttaswamy case has spoken about the Aadhaar linking to the bank account does not satisfy the test of proportionality, the Guwahati High Court has sent a notice based on the Supreme Court verdict of 2018 case Puttaswamy to the SBI, asking the SBI to explain why the SBI has asked the NGOs that Aadhaar is mandatory for opening and operating an account. Please do understand this. Assam-based NGO challenging in the Guwahati High Court against the amendment provisions made in the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act in September 2020, which makes Aadhaar mandatory. So, making Aadhaar mandatory was challenged by the Assam-based NGO in the Guwahati High Court. This is the main intention or the analysis. What we are focusing is why Aadhaar is made mandatory in opening and operating an account in regards to the NGOs to receive the foreign funds is been challenged. So this is what you need to focus. And there is another NGO from Andhra Pradesh which has also moved to the Delhi High Court. And here this NGO has moved or filed a petition in the Delhi High Court challenging or seeking the exemption from March 31 deadline, wherein in the amendment to the FCRA 2020, the Home Ministry has put forth that the NGOs have to be registered and they have to have a mandatory link to the bank account, and the deadline was the March 31st, 2021 to open an account in Delhi, that is in the SBI branch of Delhi, New Delhi branch. So here the Andhra Pradesh NGO has moved to the Delhi High Court seeking exemption from the deadline of March 31st. So here please do understand that another NGO from the Andhra Pradesh is seeking the exemption of the March 31st deadline, and in turn the NGO which is based in Andhra Pradesh has informed the Delhi High Court that there are totally 22,457 NGOs with active Foreign Contribution Regulation Act licenses, but out of 22,457 there are only 3,616 NGOs who have active bank accounts with the SBI main branch, that is New Delhi main branch of SBI. So there is a very clear specific information given by the Andhra Pradesh NGO to the Delhi High Court seeking the exemption that the deadline which has been prescribed as March 31st, 2021 has to be extended to open an account in Delhi in the SBI main branch, because out of 22,457 there are only 3,616 NGOs which have the active bank accounts. So this information has to be focused from FCRA, that is Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. Again, this is very important because you need to focus this analysis from internal security. internal security. So how the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act amendments made in September 2020 would have an controlling on the foreign funds which are being getting into India from various NGOs from various countries, wherein that amount should be used only for 5 purposes, which we have discussed yesterday. Apart from that, it should not be used for any kind of terrorism or any kind of money laundering. So for that, we need to focus this information from internal security of the prelims, especially focusing on the mains perspective, and in regards to the prelims, that is in regards to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act amendments being made done to the NGOs which are seeking the foreign funds. And there is another news in regards to a drug which is now very much having a more focus is in regards to the ivermectin. So this is a drug which is orally administered, and this drug is listed in India. That is, ivermectin is a drug which is listed in India as a possible treatment option for mild COVID-19 patients who are under home isolation. Please do understand here, ivermectin is an orally administered drug which is listed in India for the possible treatment of mild COVID-19 patients who are under home isolation. And now this ivermectin drug, as per the recent direction of the WHO, that is the World Health Organization, has now said that this ivermectin, which is used in India for mild COVID-19 patients who are under home isolation, is not recommended for general use. So this is the information or the analysis which we need to take up in regards to the ivermectin, which is an orally administered drug which is now being taken as a possible treatment option in India for mild COVID-19 patients who are under home isolation. But the WHO, by its recent directions, has recommended that it should not be used for general use. And the WHO chief scientist, that is Soumya Swaminathan, has recommended against the use of ivermectin for COVID-19. Except, that means the WHO chief scientist has accepted that it can be used for clinical trials, but it cannot be used for general use. Please do understand, this is the two keywords which you need to focus, that in spite of ivermectin, the orally administered drug which is listed in India as a possible treatment option for mild COVID-19 patients, but still the WHO chief scientist Soumya Swaminathan has recommended against the use of ivermectin for COVID-19. But she says that on behalf of WHO that it can be used for clinical trials. So that means ivermectin, as per the recent direction of the WHO, can be used only for the clinical trials but not for the general use for the mild COVID-19 patients. And when we've said that ivermectin is listed in India as a possible treatment option for mild COVID-19 patients, it is, that is, this drug which is orally administered drug, that is ivermectin, it is included in India's revised national COVID-19 treatment protocol. So this is a key phrase. In spite of the WHO, which it has spoken about even remdesivir, that WHO is not recommending, or it hasn't approved the remdesivir for the COVID-19 patients to be used or administered. As well, even in regards to ivermectin, the WHO is not recommending the ivermectin for the general use, but it has recommended for the usage for the clinical trials. But in spite of that, the ivermectin orally administered drug is included in India's revised national COVID-19 treatment protocol for the people who have the mild infection. And this is still not clarified, that there is no evidence of its efficacy against the viral disease. So definitely when there is no evidence of its efficacy against the viral disease, the maker of the ivermectin, they are not showing any clarification about the evidence of the efficacy of the viral disease by using the ivermectin. But WHO says that it cannot be used for general use but can be used for clinical trials. So what is that we need to focus is the ivermectin, which is now listed in the possible treatment option, and it is included in India's revised national COVID-19 treatment protocol. So you have the national India's COVID-19 treatment protocol now, wherein ivermectin is included into it. And now we will look at how Indian physicians are looking at this ivermectin, which can be a probable drug which can save the life for the one who are in the mild infection and who are in the home isolation in regards to the COVID-19. So if we focus this, the Indian physicians continue to use the ivermectin drug, which it is an approved for anti-parasitic agent. So this is the key phrase. So ivermectin is an approved for anti-parasitic agent. Please do understand this. Ivermectin drug, which the WHO is recommending not to use it for general use, but can be used for clinical trials. And as per the Indian physicians, they are continuing to use this drug because this drug, that is ivermectin, is an approved drug for anti-parasitic agent. So this is a key phrase. And how this drug is used against the parasitic agent, or as it is approved an anti-parasitic agent. So it is used in the treatment of two illness. As the drug is an anti-parasitic agent, it is used in the two illness, that is onchocerciasis, which is also called as river blindness, and it is used in the other illness, that is filariasis, which is caused, both the cases in onchocerciasis, in filariasis, which is caused because of the mosquito bite. So these are devastating, illness which are across the globe. So ivermectin, which is a drug which is approved as an anti-parasitic agent, is used in the treatment of two illness, that is onchocerciasis and filariasis. So these are the two one which you need to focus for prelims perspective, that how ivermectin is used as an anti-parasitic agent in the two illness, that is onchocerciasis, which is also called as river blindness, and then the another one illness which is used the drug to treat is filariasis. So these are the two one which are used for the prelims from science perspective. And this ivermectin is also found to be effective in reducing the multiplication of these certain RNA viruses such as SARS and also COVID RNA. Therefore, as ivermectin is found to be effective in reducing the multiplication, that is reducing the replication of certain RNA viruses such as SARS and COVID RNA, therefore it has shown that ivermectin has shown efficacy to bind or to fuse with the spike protein. So as I said, you have a spike protein of SARS-CoV-2, and this spike protein, which looks similar to this, which as I said that it binds with the ACE2 receptor. So this is the spike protein, and this one is the ACE receptor. So this is what is happening, that is the spike protein binds or fuses with the ACE2 receptor of the human cell. But here in this case, the ivermectin has shown that it is effective in reducing the multiplication. So as it is effective in reducing the multiplication, what it does is, as it binds with the spike protein of the RNA virus. It could be in regards to the SARS-CoV-2 virus also. It reduces the multiplication or replication of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and it is also reducing the attachment of the virus with the ACE2 receptor, which is found in the nasal epithelium cell. So definitely the spike protein is reducing the multiplication when it binds with the ACE2 receptor, or there is very little attachment of the virus with the ACE2 receptor, which is found in the nasal epithelial cell. So this is the major conceptual understanding how we can focus that how ivermectin is an antiparasitic agent which is used in the two illness, that is onchocerciasis and filariasis, as it is effective in reducing the multiplication or the replication of the RNA viruses, especially when it binds with the spike protein. That is, when the spike protein binds with the ACE2 receptor, the multiplication and the attachment of the virus with the ACE2 receptor is reduced, and that is the efficacy of the antiparasitic agent drug, that is ivermectin. Therefore, ivermectin may be effective for the may be effective for the management of onset or mild COVID-19 for adult COVID-19 patients. So we have discussed at length what the importance or how the ivermectin is in regards to, as I said, antiparasitic. It is used in onchocerciasis, filariasis, and it reduces the multiplication, and it has the efficiency or efficacy to bind with the spike protein, wherein the multiplication or the replication is reduced and the attachment of the virus with the nasal epithelium cell also is reduced. So this is very crucial. All this information is very important for prelims perspective of UPSC, which can be used in regards to the science. From science perspective subject, it can be used. So this is the way you need to focus how, because there is only one mention of ivermectin, that the drug. We need to focus what it is, where it is used, and then what is the effectiveness of the drug, and why it can be effective in regards to the early onset or mild COVID-19 for the adult COVID-19 patients. And now we will look at the another news, which is in regards to the COVID-19 vaccines. So here, when we are talking about the COVID-19 vaccines, yes, we are talking about the intellectual property waivers for COVID-19 vaccines. And where it has been discussed, yes, it has been discussed by the World Trade Organization Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, wherein she has said that, or she has pushed for the member nations of the WTO, that is World Trade Organizations, so that the member nations of the WTO would reach at some agreement by July 2021 and deliver a final outcome of the intellectual property waivers for COVID-19 vaccines by December 2021. And this is a statement made by the Director General of WTO, that is World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and she has emphasized the urgency to arrive at the final outcome of the international property waivers, and she is expecting that it has to be at a swift phase, and swift pact has to be taken in regards to the intellectual property waivers, because there is a need to vaccinate the world faster. So look at this key phrase, that is, as there is a need and urgency to vaccinate the world faster, so there is an importance and there is an urgency to arrive at a swift pact in regards to the intellectual property waivers for COVID-19 vaccine. At least it has to be delivered at a final outcome by July, and then it should be discussed in the next ministerial meeting in December 2021. So the key phrase, what we need to focus is about the intellectual property waivers for COVID-19 vaccine, because the vaccine, there is a need to vaccinate the world faster. So as there is a need that the world has to be vaccinated faster, there is an urgency that the intellectual property waivers have to be for COVID-19 vaccine should be taken up at least the next ministerial meeting in December. And this has been raised by the WTO Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. And while she was having an interaction with the Commerce and Industry Ministry of India, that is Piyush Goyal, and also having an interaction with the World Economic Forum President Jorge Brende, she has expressed anguish in regards to the second wave which the India is experiencing. She has expressed anguish about the second wave which India is experiencing, and which the second wave has engulfed the India. And she also makes it very clear that India would, and she's hoping that India would come out of the situation with a proper solution as soon as possible. And she has also expressed her concern, and she has also made it very clear that how India has exported more than 40% of vaccine to various other countries. And India also feels that it is responsible that when the other countries were in need of the vaccine, so it was at that moment that India has exported 40% of the vaccine, as said by the WTO Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, as she was having an interaction with the Piyush Goyal, that is Commerce and Industry Ministry of India, and the World Economic Forum President Jorge Brende. She has said that as India has exported 40% of the vaccine, along with India, it was China and the European Union which have also exported the vaccine. And in turn, she has thanked the World Trade Organization members for helping hand for the countries which are really in need for the vaccines. At the time when they are need, the European Union, China and India have exported the vaccine. And this is the one which has been raised by the World Trade Organization, that there is a necessity that the intellectual property waivers for the COVID-19 vaccine has to be taken up at a very swift phase, because India or the entire world has to be vaccinated at a faster pace. So the key phrase is intellectual property waivers for the COVID-19 vaccine. And I hope this session was informative, knowledgeable, and also useful for both prelims and mains perspective. So I would say a very big thank you to all. And then good luck to you all. Do maintain consistency, stick to your schedule, and then take care of your physical health and mental health. And do not forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe the AKS IAS Academy English Medium YouTube channel. And also have access to the website and the Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy. And then see you again tomorrow with the daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy, that is Advanced Knowledge System. And then till then, thank you, goodbye, and then take care.